And I say I'm live. So the eagle-eyed amongst you will have spotted throughout this week that I've got no guest this week. That is deliberate. A lot of changes have taken place in the EdTech family, and I just wanted to take stock and share some of those changes with you because I think they're for the better. I'll go through a couple of screens around what the EdTech family is, what it looks like now, and what it's transitioning to. But I don't think we'll take the full 20 minutes. So this will be a short episode just to give you an insight into what's happening. And I think some of you out there might be interested in a future development. So if you're an EdTech business founder, salesperson, and you're looking for a way to get some exposure for your product, then I think we might have a way of helping you do that. So I'm going to do the usual stuff and start with, if you're listening, if you're a keen fan of the EdTech family, don't forget to subscribe to EdTech TV on YouTube. I'll explain why in a minute, because I'm going to go through how the EdTech family's evolved. If you're watching on LinkedIn, don't forget to like, share, repost, comment, ask any questions. It's the best way for you to support what we're trying to do and to maintain the EdTech family. And if you do have any questions, if you hit the comment button after putting your comment in LinkedIn, then they'll appear at this end and I can answer those questions as we go along. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and hopefully everyone will be able to see this, and it's better than looking at me, so it's minimized me. And just talk a little bit about the EdTech family and what it is. So EdTech, the EdTech family started with a newsletter on LinkedIn. I think there's over 30, maybe close to 40 different episodes of that editions of that newsletter now. It's amassed nearly 1,000 subscribers. We get loads of positive feedback, and it's just designed to share information, really. But some of the feedback we got, because we're constantly asking for feedback around what people want and what this offer should look like. We were not constantly, but we were getting a bit of feedback about people consuming content in different ways. So after having a quick think about how we could address some of that feedback, we decided to launch the EdTech Live podcast. So we've introduced an element of audio and video into the EdTech family. I then got a couple of people, so not many, who'd seen some videos that we'd done in the past around data diligence. So in a previous life, did a lot of CPD and training on something that we called data diligence for schools, which helped you to understand DFE data sets, how certain things are calculated, etc. And they felt like that was missing, and they missed it a little bit. So again, after having a chat with the team at Accelerate, we decided to launch EdTech TV. And that's simply a place where we can share all sorts of different video content. So the podcast will go in there, but any training and CPD video will go in there as well. And then the most recent addition to the EdTech family, something that we've not shared an awful lot, but we will start to share more and more moving forward, is the EdTech TV WhatsApp channel. Now, a bit of a mouthful that, and why did we introduce a WhatsApp channel? Well, we did it for two reasons, really. Firstly, we want to make useful content as accessible as possible, and we know that a lot of people use these things, and most of those people will have WhatsApp. So it's a place, really, for you to get up-to-date information that's shared via the EdTech family in a device that's in your hand a lot of the time. And it'll be more frequent as well. So stories that go into the newsletter will be shared quicker via the WhatsApp channel. The second reason is it's anonymous. So if you join that WhatsApp channel, myself, the team at Accelerate, other people in the channel, they can't tell who you are. So it's a place where you can express how you feel about the content we're sharing, using emojis or responding to polls, and we'll never know who you are. So that was the second reason that we introduced the WhatsApp channel. And that brings me to what next, and the reason really for doing this short video today. So what we've decided to do, and I'll explain in a bit more detail in a minute when I surmise or summarise the whole Ed and Tech family, we've decided to offer supplier spotlights. Now, these are no cost, and the reason that we want to do this, speaking to schools, they feel bombarded in a lot of cases. They're constantly taking sales calls. They're constantly getting emails. They get lots of marketing material, and that makes them take a step back sometimes. So what we want to do is give, because we've got loads of great edtech providers out there, right? That the UK is a bit of a hive for edtech providers. Although this doesn't have to be UK based either, by the way. If you're somebody from overseas wanting to get into the UK, then we're willing to have a chat as well. But it'll be a chance for edtech providers to share their offer as long as they meet certain parameters without having to pay for the privilege. They can share their content. So let's, for example, say we do a supplier spotlight on. I'll use us as an example. Let's say it's Accelerate. So we did a supplier spotlight on Accelerate. That content will be shared across the channels. It will also hit the WhatsApp group. People can anonymously watch that content, safe and sound in the knowledge that they're not going to get a follow-up call. They're not going to get badgered. And when they're ready, and if it ticks the box, they can then take a step towards a supplier. Just to remind anybody who's just started watching, if you've got any questions, hit them, land them in the comments on LinkedIn. So what's the difference? Because I've talked about, really briefly, I've talked about a number of things there. What's the difference between each of the things? So if I start on the left-hand side and go with a newsletter, it's released on a Monday. It's traditionally been a Wednesday, but I am going to release it on a Monday because it buys me a bit of breathing space over a weekend if I'm catching up. It's simply a place where we gather stories from across the sector, and by the sector I mean education and edtech, and we gather them all in one place. We group them into general education news, edtech news, DFE news, and Ofsted news, and they're all in that one place, and it's shared on LinkedIn. So you can subscribe to the Ed and Tech Times on LinkedIn, and then every time we release an episode on a Monday, you will get that content. The Ed and Tech Live podcast, it's every Thursday. So today is a prime example. It's every Thursday at 4:00. It's live on LinkedIn, it's live on YouTube, and it's live on Twitter as well. And that gives us a chance to spotlight leaders in the space. So this isn't about spotlighting a provider. This is about leaders in the education and edtech space. We've had some great guests on. We've got some great guests planned. So if you're interested in listening to the journey or the experiences or the views of leaders in this space, then that's the place to go. It's video as well, so it's video and audio. Ed and Tech TV, it's a single container for all video content that's released as part of the Ed and Tech family. So data training, any video content, anything that we release via supplier spotlights. If it's video content, it will land in Ed and Tech TV, and you'll be able to watch it in Ed and Tech TV. Sorry, a message come through on my phone, and I thought it might have been a comment, and there was a delay. It's not. And then we've got the WhatsApp group. I think I explained that earlier. All Ed and Tech family related content goes in the group. We'll share stories. From across the sector. So anything that goes in the newsletter will go into the WhatsApp group. We're probably a bit more timely. So on the day we're building that piece of content into the newsletter, we'll also share it on the WhatsApp group. So you don't need to wait until the newsletter goes live. It's updated daily. And then finally, the supplier spotlights. It's a no pressure demonstration of a product in the edtech space, and the caveat is the product must solve a problem in schools. So we'll sit and have a conversation with the suppliers first. They'll tell us what problem they solve. if that resonates and we think that's right, we might even sense check that against some schools as well, some friendly schools that we've got. Then we'll run an episode of Ed and Tech live, but it'll be a supplier spotlight episode, and they will take place on various days, so you'll be able to see them when we advertise them. But we'll work with suppliers to make sure it fits for them as well. Like I said earlier, no cost if you want to do that. So if you're trying to get your product out into the market, it definitely fits the mold in terms of it solves a problem for educators and for children and young people and for schools, whatever. Then that's the place for you. That's all I really wanted to update people on. So I know that's short. It's a short 10 minutes. These things are always harder when there's no one to back and forth with, because I'm tired of my own voice. So I'm not going to delay this any longer than I absolutely need to. I'm just going to remind you, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, repost. If you've got any questions, if you're watching it further down the line, a later date on any of these platforms, put them in the comments. I will catch up and respond. Ed and Tech TV handles there for YouTube. Same on LinkedIn. Other than that, thanks for listening, everyone. Take care. Have a good weekend when it gets here. It looks like it might be a bit sunnier than previous ones.